Boys are hauling hay today, so they're already gone. And I thought I would do a video today. Sorry, everybody's really loud. It's distracting. On just some tips for farming or homesteading and working full-time. There are not a ton of YouTubers out there that both people are working full-time and doing this, and just some tips that I have, like you can do this and work a full-time job. My husband and I are both professionals, work normal jobs. And good morning. Feeding the dog and the kitty, and just kind of how we make this work and see how that goes. Let's feed the dog and the kitty. What are you gonna do? Where's Hank? Where's Hank? So I work for a school, so I have kind of different hours. I don't have like a typical 8 to 5. I work 7:30 to 3:30-ish. They've been sleeping out here. And this is Tink that's yelling like at the top of her lungs. Tink, are you hungry? Is it breakfast? And then Poppy's the next loudest. Yep. Guys, it's breeding season. You can even hear me. Hi, hey. Say good morning, Mom. It's breeding season, so they're so loud just in general. If you follow me on Instagram, you see the video that I posted yesterday. Like when I came home, it was raining, and so like this is where you can see like my car is right here, and they were all in here, and I could hear them screaming at the top of their lungs. It was raining, and they thought they were starving. And then the boys are just rut in constant, just rut and being loud. Let's get them fed. Okay, so now that the girls are fed, go feed the boys. And that's kind of one thing, probably my number one tip, is if you're going to do this and work, is have routines. That's kind of what saves me in the morning. I get questions at work a lot, and my friends are like, don't you have to get up super early? And if you know what you're going outside to do, and you have a good routine, and you know you're checking all your boxes in the morning, then no, like it takes 5 minutes to feed those guys and sweep off their beds and break up the hay. And I do that in the morning. I don't necessarily have to, but it's hot right now, and so it's a lot more comfortable to rake out the hay, the wasted hay, in the morning when it's not a million degrees. Today it's not so bad. All of their dishes are full of water. Forgot it rained yesterday. So that's pretty much my whole morning routine on the weekdays. Like, I get up at probably 6:40 if I'm going to be honest. I try to get up at 6:30. I probably don't really get up until 6:40. And I get out here and I take 10 minutes and I feed everybody and I lay eyes on everybody. And that's going to give me the opportunity to make sure none of the goats look off. Everybody's chasing me to the feed bucket in the morning, being crazy like they always are. And nobody has pooped down their butt. I'm satisfied that I can leave for work and we don't have any kind of like health emergencies going on. So that's my first tip, is have a routine, especially for weekdays, so that when you get up in the morning, you kind of know what you're going to do and you can check on all your animals. You go to work and kind of leave it. Let's get the door open. So for me, that's pretty much what it looks like. And that way on the weekend, you kind of know what you need to do. I need some lineman pliers. You know what you need to do, and then weekends pretty much are for projects around here. And it is hard because you do have to kind of pick and choose. And like I was talking about with the pigs, I made the decision I wanted pigs, so I got rid of my chickens. Did I have to do that? Probably not. But it made a huge difference for me time-wise. It's one less water to manage. It's one less feed to manage. Are you going to hang out in there? Duke? Huh? What do you bud? Oh, he barked all night. I think we had coyotes roaming. But it just made a difference for me. It cut out the 2 or 3 minutes I had to spend on the chickens, separate from the goats, and added an animal that still provided us with food. But I'm gonna cut some wire real quick. But just was the same maintenance as a goat. And number 2 would be to start out small and kind of learn how much you can handle and work and not be exhausted. Because like I said, we use the weekends for projects, but you don't want, I mean, I love this, and so it doesn't really bother me, but I still want a break. So if we want to go away for the weekend to do something, or we want to sit on the couch and watch football all weekend, or baseball is really my thing, then I want to be able to do that. So don't overload your plate either. I would recommend picking one animal to focus on. So chickens, I don't really count unless you're like trying to do a breeding program where you're going to breed your like fancy chickens, which I know some people who do that, who have some of the less common breeds, and they breed and hatch eggs, and that's really fun. So if you're going to do like a breeding program where you're selling your animals, pick one animal to concentrate on. So for me, at least to start, that's the goats. And it's taking me probably, all right, I'm going to get some mineral for them, several years to just be comfortable with health and herd management and breeding and having babies and selling babies and keeping babies and all of that. Very excited. So this is the goat mineral that we use. It's just the Mana goat mineral. It's what's available at our feed store. I like the loose mineral. It's more expensive to buy the goat specific mineral, but it's so much better for them. Alright, so that was all for you turkeys, other than Twiz and Nani are in heat this morning. Nani's been acting kind of weird the last couple of days, and it makes a lot of sense now. So pick an animal to concentrate on, because then you can really work a little bit along on your facilities. You can work a little bit along on learning the animals, breeding, and all of those things. We haven't actually walked out and checked on our cattle in like too long. So I'm gonna walk out there when I talk to you guys. Go see the moo-moos this morning. It rained yesterday. So this may not be the best idea, but we'll see. Especially since I have shorts on, I probably should go put overalls on. So pick an animal to concentrate on to start off with. I always recommend, if you have never done any of this before, start with chickens. Chickens are super easy. They're inexpensive, so if you just royally screw up and they, heaven forbid, all end up dead, it's okay. You haven't invested a ton of money in it, and you can start over and learn. Goats, dairy goats are expensive if you're going to buy a good dairy goat. So losing one of them can be just really hard. It's been really hard for me, the 2 or 3 that I've lost over the last 5 years. So start small, maybe with rabbits or chickens. I don't really know a lot about rabbits, but, and then go and decide if, do I want to do pigs? Do I want to do goats? And kind of add one animal at a time. We left this gate open last week. Jeremy mowed down a bunch of pigweed and he left the gate open, and we walked out and there were like 6 cows in the backyard. It happens. It's fine. So pick an animal to concentrate on and then kind of grow from there. Start with chicken, see if you like it. Don't ever make it so much that you hate having to go outside. I think if you're going to do farming or homesteading, you need to be passionate about it. This is the pond. This little creek. We're going to see if we can go over. We call it chores, but you don't want it to feel like a chore, ever. Sorry, neighbors. You ever want it to feel like a chore? You always want to feel like this is something you want to do. And I don't mean that like every day you're going to be super pumped to come outside, but you should at least not hate it. And that's kind of what I do with milking. So I stop milking when it becomes frustrating and annoying and I don't want to do it. And that's kind of my rule. Unless I have something that I really want to do, like I'm making soap or cheese for someone, or caramel or yogurt or something that I'm really enjoying, I stopped milking 2 weeks ago because it's just done. I was tired. And so you have to be okay with that. You have to be okay with saying, I'm done with this for now. Like the chickens, I hated to get rid of the chickens, but I was done. I was tired. I wasn't taking care of them very well. And so they got to go live at my friend Mary's house. And she loved them, and that was great, and it worked out. And it's okay. So be willing to kind of either shift gears, stop doing something that you don't like, because this should be fun. So that being said, make sure that you're having fun. Be willing to stop doing things when they become less enjoyable. Because you have to prioritize. And that's kind of the second thing. Sometimes you have to just have priorities. And say, like with the garden. He's in trouble. Little buggy. You have to be able to say, sorry you're looking at the mud, but it's muddy. I only have so much time. This is what I can do with it. And do that. So that's basically what we did with our garden. Okay, so there, our pasture goes out that way. This is a giant mud pit that we have to work on. I'm trying to think. I'm probably going to go over the fence over there and come around and walk out this way because the grass, I don't know, maybe we'll walk out there. Okay, so I think we're going to go out here because I think this mud is a little bit less squishy. Didn't rain a whole lot yesterday, but just enough. Really just don't want to be in the pasture where our black bull is because it's just more unpredictable than our Hereford bull. So priorities, like with the garden this year, we didn't do a garden at all last year. for a lot of different reasons. We did a huge garden 3 years ago. It was 5,000 square feet. We have a long growing season, and it was just too much. Like, it was too much for me to do by myself. Jeremy doesn't really enjoy gardening, and he was working. I was trying to manage it. It just wasn't what was right. So we skipped two years, I think. And then this year we did the garden beds. Hi, Minnie. Hi, sweet girl. Hi, sweetie. Hi. I didn't bring any food. I don't have some pats. Okay, bye-bye. You're looking big. Are you having babies anytime soon? So we didn't do the garden, and that was just a choice that we had to make. We didn't have time. It was frustrating. It didn't make us happy. It was not productive in the way that we wanted. So we planted some things that we thought would be good, but didn't exactly think about things that would work for us. And so this year I did the garden boxes, and I just really wanted tomatoes. And that's basically what I got. We planted some zucchini, and I made a couple of rounds of zucchini bread. You look close. And that was it. And I had tomatoes all summer. I'm still having tomatoes that I'm giving to people. And that was great, and it worked out. We're not big vegetable. Okay, let me say this. I love vegetables, but Jeremy is kind of pickier about his veggies. And the truth is, we just don't eat a ton of vegetables. We probably should. But we like salads. And so I started trying to plant things that were more things that we would eat, and to be more conscious of what I was planting and not just planting things because I could. I think these are all girls. All cows, no bulls. So that was just a choice that we made, and I think when you're working full-time and somebody's not at home tending to the farm all the time, that's something you have to think about. Like, how important is this to me, and how much value does it bring to us? So milk, we drink milk, we eat cheese, we've made soap, we make ice cream. My father-in-law loves goat milk. My husband loves goat milk. That really was just an ad for us. We eat beef, so being able to grow our own beef is great. Cows, for the most part, super easy to take care of. Like, I haven't been out here in 2 weeks. Oh, probably longer. They come up to the house, but like, we haven't walked out here to like look over these animals in quite a bit. And they're fine. Like, you would know. We would know if something was wrong, but you know, that's cows. They're not easy to move place to place, and they're not necessarily easy to work if they're not trained and you don't have good facilities. So that's the thing about cows. These are some commercial herd cows, and they don't like me as well. But I'm generally the food lady, so they shouldn't give me too hard a time. Hi. Hi, Floppy ear. It's a Tekken. No pink eye. Which is amazing considering how tall this grass is. So prioritize. Do the things that you love. Make sure that this makes you happy. Sometimes you have to scale back. Sometimes you have to be reasonable and say, hey, that didn't work. Projects are going to move more slowly because you can't work on them all the time. You know, I work the kind of job that, like, I want this to be relaxing when I come home. I don't want it to be super demanding. So I'm not always willing to come out in the evenings and put a ton of work in sometimes. The other thing I'd say is make friends with someone who's willing to farm sit for you. That's a huge, I don't care if you're doing this for full-time or you're working and doing it. I have a farm sitter, and she's fabulous. She loves to be out here, which means she takes really good care of the animals. She will milk the goats, which is like huge. And she loves to be out here. She has good availability. She's not super busy all the time. And she manages to kind of understand that she can do this, and it cannot be a super big imposition for her, I hope. But she's awesome. She takes care of my girls. It's important to have someone, because you need to be able to get away, especially if you're working another job or a job like mine that's kind of high stress at times. It's good to be able to walk away from everything for a while, for a couple of days, and rest. It's good to have help. My in-laws are super awesome. They live really close to us, and they help. There's got to be a calf over here because this mama is pissed that I'm walking over here. But there's a fence between us, so hopefully that will be okay. The bulls are out here, so I'm going to stay on this side of the fence. Our progression was chickens. We did chickens for 3 months. No. 5 months before we got goats. We had goats for about 6 months. Oh, the boys are here with the hay, so I probably need to walk back that way. Had goats for about 6 months. Then we got cows. The next year we did meat birds. We did meat chickens for the first time, raised and processed chickens the next year. And we also hatched our own eggs and grew like laying hens up the next year. So, and then we were kind of settled with the animals that we had, but we added cows, added goats, added chickens, did a couple of different rounds of meat birds, those kind of things. So we did a little bit of lot. We got rid of the chickens and we got pigs. We'd been doing this for 4 years before we got pigs. Sorry, they're all running, and so I'm going to stop because I'm not going to be able to cross over the mud with them as they're running. It won't be safe. They just pulled in with this big load of hay, and they see it and they're really excited. Thankfully the ones that are running are in the pasture over there. And these ladies I haven't decided to care yet. We always started small with an animal, do like 1 or 2. Most animals I would recommend that you have 2 of them. Goats, you have to have 2. You have to have 2 goats. Goats can't be by themselves. Pigs, I don't know. We always had 2 pigs. But Pork Chop was here for a couple weeks by himself with the goats. Had some friends. He didn't seem to care. So I don't know. I always recommend having a buddy. Is always a good thing for animals, especially animals that live in a herd. It's really good. Okay. We're all standing here at the cross fence. Okay, so I'm not great at walking and talking apparently, and I feel like that was a lot of rambling, but to recap. Probably my top tips for if you're going to farm and do this and work full time, you're going to homestead, you really want to work toward growing your own food and being independent. Then have routines before and after work so that doesn't stress you out, so that you know, hey, I'm going to spend 10 minutes doing this in the morning, I'm going to spend maybe 20 minutes in the evening. Depending on what your work is like, and if you're a morning or an evening person, maybe you'd rather do 30 minutes in the morning so that you just have to do your walkthrough at night and you don't have to spend as much time. Let's turn the light off, dudes. As much time. For me, because I get to work a little bit earlier and I have more of a commute, I like to have short in the morning and spend the time in the afternoons, because I feel like for me, just for my mental well-being, it's good for me to be outside after work to kind of decompress. So I do most of my work in the evenings. Save big projects for the weekend. Prioritize the things that you need to get done. So if I need a feeder built, then that's what I do. That's what we do. I don't do anything hardly, just independent, just by myself. if I need to, like today, I've got to trim goat hoofs. I've got to trim the boys' hooves. If I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that on the weekend. I'm probably not going to do that at night. Number one, these guys are stinky, and it takes a bit to get buck smell off. If I can do something at night, if I have something that's maybe going to take an hour and I have the energy, then I'll do that. So something like this morning, even though I fixed those feeders, I could have done that one night this week. I just didn't, but it took 10 minutes to do that. So I try to do those small kind of maintenance things during the week and bigger projects on the weekend. Don't wear yourself out. Don't make this. So that's my number 2 tip, is prioritize things so that you enjoy it. Don't ever feel like this is something you have to do. Feeling like that every once in a while is fine, but like, you don't want this to be a chore, something you don't enjoy. There's no point if you're not going to enjoy it. So don't put so many things on your plate that you're so overrun that you're not enjoying it. I have that time during kidding season where I love baby goats, but I feel super overwhelmed a lot of times. But don't let it be that way all the time. If you're not enjoying something, figure out a way to either modify it so that you do like it, or make it shorter, or just stop doing it. Like if I'm worn out with milking, I just quit. Like I'm just like, okay, we're done for this year, and that's fine. Or I lower the number of goats that I'm milking. Start out slow. Start out with one animal, learn that, and then gradually add animals so you feel comfortable. I wouldn't go out and get chickens, pigs, goats, and cows all in the same week. That's a lot. Prioritize the things that are important to your family. Like I said, for us, we've cut back on the gardening because I wanted to be more intentional with what I was planting and what I was growing, and that there are things that we would eat. And I'm just not growing something to grow it because I can. So we have a lot of fruit trees, which we love, and we eat a lot of fruit. And I did fewer vegetables this year, and I did vegetables that I knew that we would eat, and I knew how I was going to cook them. Find good farm help so that you can get away. It's really important to be able to get away. Especially if you're working and you're doing this, it can get super overwhelming, and it's good to be able to get away. Plan so that you're not having babies year round, so that you need to be here, and have somebody that's going to take good care of your animals, and that will help you. My in-laws have been great to help us. We have some neighbors that are great to help us when we have bigger projects. Jeremy's brothers are always willing to help, and my parents are willing to help on big projects, and that is really super helpful. It doesn't have to be family, it can be friends or fellow farmers, but it's just important. Sorry, it sounded like a phone alarm, and there's nobody here. Must have been a neighbor. Find help. Help's really important to have good relationships with fellow farmers that can help you out, and have fun. That's just my tips off the top of my head today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and ring the little notification bell so that you know every time I put out new videos. And I'm gonna go trim some boys' hooves. Should be fun. See you guys in the next.